Emergency podcast territory here, guys. Post-game live on Saturday, the 10th of June, the Marlins put up 5 runs in the 9th inning to seal the win. Game 2 against the White Sox. Tons to get into. All on today's Locked On Marlins.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings from England and welcome to Locked On Marlins. This, of course, is your daily Marlins podcast, and this is a bonus episode, a weekend extravaganza, a Saturday episode coming at you. I'm your host, of course, Peter Pratt. Hit me up on Twitter at @MiamiMarlins_UK. If you're listening to the pod, hit subscribe. This is, of course, your team every day. And thanks for making Locked On Marlins maybe your first listen of the day. This one's dropping a little bit later than normal. It's a post-gamer. It felt right to hit the record button. There is a YouTube channel, of course, guys. Head on over to there. Hit subscribe. Also on YouTube, almost at 700 subscribers. We're trending. Coincidentally, the Marlins, 7 games over 500. 707 games. I don't know. Is there a connection? I don't know. Guys, another come-from-behind victory. It looked a bit dicey. The Marlins deserved it in the overall scheme and the overall balance of this game in particular, but it looked a bit dicey. They were 1-0 down heading into the 9th. Top of the order was on deck, other than a pinch hit from Garrett Cooper, which you love to see. Sandy cruised it for 7 innings. And also Joey Wendle had an absolute stunner of a day. Offensively, he's having a good series, but also defensively too. And Mean Gene with the exclamation point, AJ Puck coming in to seal the 9th. Tons of action, guys. Absolutely tons of action to dig into on this post-game extravaganza. The episode itself, it's sponsored by Gametime. You can download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. More about those guys later on, of course. Guys, I'm feeling hyped. I'm feeling pumped. You know it. It is just about 10:30 p.m. UK time now. The game has just ended. I've fired up a load of Twitter stuff. I've recorded a 60-second recap, and I've sat down and thought it's time to do a post-game extravaganza episode, because that was a big win. Big win, another big win where the Marlins find a way to get it done at the back end of the game. We've seen a few of these recently, right? The Angels game in extras, things just blew up. The Marlins putting the ball in play, making things happen. And they do the same again today. Garrett Cooper, though, setting the tone. He pinch hit for John Birdie at the bottom of the Coop, just doing his thing. You know, we were concerned with Cooper yesterday, exiting the game. Obviously, he had that season-ending injury for Tommy John with that same kind of play. Luckily, Coop avoided serious injury, which is big. He then comes in pinch hitting. And listen, Coop, pinch hitting late in games. He's been clutch. Great to see from Garrett Cooper. Set the tone. Jonathan Davis then. He then comes in a pinch run for Coop, of course, which was right. Coop rocks in. Couple of pitches, a hit. Day over. Still the hero, though. Luis Arraez then getting another hit. So the Marlins 2 on, no outs. Soler draws the walk. The base is juiced. No outs. You're thinking, boy, oh boy, this is the time. Brian De La Cruz couldn't get it done. In the end, it came down to Jesus Sanchez, baby. Jesus Sanchez getting the walk, walking him in. Actually, it's probably a little bit unfair to say Brian De La Cruz couldn't get it done. The fact that the biggest play, probably the big play in this all, was the error to Tim Anderson. And boy, oh boy, Tim Anderson. I said going into the series with Chase on Friday, I'm interested. I haven't had eyeballs on Tim Anderson. What does he look like? How good is he? We hear the name. We've seen the name, but we obviously don't see the White Sox a ton. I was interested to see what he was like. Offensively yesterday, impressive. But defensively, I must say, he's had a tough couple of games. And obviously the big error coming from Tim Anderson. He looks like a future Met to me now. I mean, come on, get him over to the Mets. Big guy, big name, overpaid guy. The bottles it. Perfect Met. The Marlins don't need him. Joey Wendle, defensively, boy, oh boy, there was some serious plays today. And this, I know I'm bouncing around here with the agenda for those watching, but Sandy Alcantara, this was his best, maybe his best appearance all year. I know we had a complete game shutout earlier in the year, but for me, this was 2022 Sandy. No strikeouts, no overgassing. It was just ground ball Sandy, which is what he's all about. And he just, he's kind of come away from that. I don't know if he'd lost confidence in the defense, worried about the shift, whatever it might be. But Sandy kind of lost who Sandy was. Maybe he was trying to evolve himself. I don't know. But this was back to vintage Sandy Alcantara. Ground balls, and Joey Wendle, a ton of activity. Excuse me. And one of the plays in particular, diving to his right, on his knees, on his back, rolling around, zinging it over to first base and getting the out. I think it was Andrew Vaughn that he got on that play. Stunning play from Wendle. Stunning play from Sandy, or stunning outing from Sandy Alcantara. Want to see more of it. More aggression. Hunting ground balls. I know, obviously, he gave up the one home run, but overall, listen, Sandy, this was so impressive. And the other thing here, he was only mid-80s in terms of his pitch count through 7. Earlier in the year and last year, that's full go. Sandy, keep rolling. Can you get through 8? Can you get through 9? Skip Schumacher pats him on the back, shakes his hand. Thank you, Sandy. Brilliant outing. Have a seat. No blow-up inning from Sandy. Skip Schumacher is managing Sandy Alcantara now in a different way. Earlier on in the year, he let him go. He let him go too far, and it hurt him. Skip now has changed. This is the wonderful thing for Skip Schumacher. He is not afraid to make any adjustments. If he sees something that isn't working, he is not afraid to deviate, and he's not afraid to deviate with his ace. Sandy wouldn't have been happy with that overall. I mean, he would be. I mean, it was 7 innings, 1-run ball, and, he pitched well, pitched really well. As we know, Sandy wants 9. He wants 9 in the dub. But Skip Schumacher over there shaking hands. Sandy, sit down. And he's just a straight up stud of a manager, Skip Schumacher. We've said it all year long, finding a way to press the right buttons at the right time. And the Marlins in this game ended up pressing all the right offensive buttons in that 9th inning. Stunning to see. The Marlins, again, find another way to come from behind. Overall, in this series thus far, the White Sox, they deserve game 1. They outplayed the Marlins in game 1. They did. The Marlins offense couldn't get anything going. Complete reverse today. In game 2, the Marlins deserved it. I know the way they got there was a little bit agricultural. Their methodology was a touch agricultural, saving it all to the 9th with a few errors in there and a few walks and all sorts of stuff and shenanigans. Doesn't matter. The Marlins did deserve to win that game, and the White Sox deserve to win game 1. What I did say, and what I must say about the White Sox in general, spoke about it this morning. The White Sox will not be sellers at this deadline. There's people talking about Tim Anderson. There's people talking about Yasmani Grandal. There's people talking about the pitching. There's plenty of guys knocking around the White Sox. There's too much talent on this roster. These guys, by the deadline, will be leading the division, in my opinion. I think they will be, and they will not be sellers. They likely could be buyers. And so I think we can kind of scratch all of these names off anyway for the Marlins in terms of acquisitions. I just don't think they will be selling anyone. So wait to see on that one. Let's talk about our good friends over at Gametime again, guys. Let's get the sexy graphic piled up too. Oh boy, where's the graphics now? Oh my days, it's all gone apart. Here we go, Gametime graphics. And of course, with Gametime, as you know, this is all about last-minute tickets and buying tickets to your favorite events. It should not be stressful. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and the best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Forget planning months in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. You can get exclusive flash deals on tickets, football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more, if there is more. Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Can't say fairer than that. So, pretty simple. Here's what you need to do. Start with download the app. Download the Gametime app. Create an account and use this promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account Redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Love to see it. Love to see it. Let's hope that people are clamoring for tickets for the Marlins late into the year. They're 7 games over 500, guys. The Marlins on the 10th of June, 7 games over 500 in second place in the division. Significantly, the Mets have absolutely tailed off. The Phillies have got hot too, but they're still significantly back of the Marlins. They're second in the division. 10th of June, having just put up a 5 spot in the 9th inning to come back on the road in Chicago against the White Sox that I think are pretty good. This Marlins club is different, guys. It is different. AJ Puk was back in the 9th, and he is different. What a boost. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is with the club on the road. No rehab at the moment for Jazz. I think he's just going to cruise with the club for the foreseeable. Hopefully back for the homestand. That's what I'm targeting. I know everyone was saying, hey, can he make it back for the White Sox series? No, hasn't made it back. Well, he's made it, into the clubhouse and onto the bench, but not playing. Let's hope the Jazz can make it back, maybe for that homestand after they finish with Seattle and the Nats. Seems perfect to me. Let's talk about the shortstop position very briefly, because for me, it's been a tough start for Joey Wendle this year. It was a tough start. Obviously, hit the IL too. He hit his first home run of the year yesterday. And for me, this could be the turning point for Joey Wendle. Really could. Defensively, however, let's just kind of flick to the glove side. We're all concerned. How much of a step back is it going to be for Miguel Rojas? It hasn't been a step back. Joey Wendle has been more than capable. Above average, I would say, at shortstop. And so what the Marlins plan there, moving Joey Wendle into the shortstop position and thinking about from a defensive perspective, it hasn't hurt them. It hasn't. Joey Wendle has been perfectly fine there. The question then is, can you see career numbers from Joey Wendle and that level of production that give the Marlins the boost they need? And in the last 2 weeks, boy, oh boy, we've seen it. He is the hottest hitting shortstop in Major League Baseball at this point. I don't know the exact numbers. I've had a few glasses of wine, but Sean Barrett, I think, went and looked at it as the game was going on and said, Pete, I think you're right. Sean would have checked it. I've been fact-checked by Sean Barrett, and he has said Joey Wendle is the hottest hitting shortstop in the game right now. And if that can continue, huge boost for the Marlins. Huge boost, because we know what we're going to get from the top of the order in the main now. It's just, can we get the bottom of the order going? And listen, there were some dark moments in today's game. Boy, oh boy. They were, 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position? I mean, it was like franchise, history happening there. It was just so bad. It's almost impossible to leave that many opportunities with runners in scoring position and not score. Really was. But overall, Joey Wendle, I must say, is really starting to show signs of the player that we were hoping for. And if this can continue, and also if Gene Segura can heat up too. And Gene Segura today, he had a massive fly out to center field. It almost went out, to be honest with you. I was thinking, okay, Gene Segura, he's seeing the ball well today. Joey Wendle equally, he's seeing the ball well. That's why I was bullish about these boys. I felt like that cluster of the lineup could do some damage. And then Gene Segura, he's just managing to get the ball off the ground. Like it's been so many ground balls from Gene. But today we saw that big fly out to center and then a big double from him that scored the 2 runners in the 9th as well to give the runs that weren't in the end required, but a couple of extra runs. Took the save situation away from AJ Puk, so Puk will be fuming about that. I don't know, but I mean, Mean Gene, if he can get it rolling, Joey Wendle, if he continues in this pace, Nick Fortes equally has been really nice behind the dish. Stallings today, you have to say, a walk, a double. It was pretty decent from Stallings, which is great to see. So all of a sudden, the Marlins starting to piece things together. It's going to be about what happens in Game 3. Braxton Garrett going. What can the Marlins do? Can they find a way to win this series on the road with a White Sox club that started slow but has been really heating up too? This is a test. It felt like a similar test to the Padres series, to be honest with you, where a club that you felt The record was not indicative of the talent on the roster. You were thinking, boy, oh boy, here's a trap series. Thinking, they should be winning this series, but in the end get beat. The Padres ended up beating the Marlins. Padres played well. For this series, going to hinge on Game 3. What happens? But can the Marlins beat what I think is a pretty tidy White Sox team? The streak was snapped, though, guys. Have to call that out. I was hoping for a double-digit streak. They couldn't quite get it done. They got the 6 and then got beat yesterday. But overall, they are now, 7-1 for the last 8. Pretty incredible, really. The Marlins are beating teams that they, in some ways, should be beating. But it isn't just about, baseball isn't played on paper. And this Marlins club getting dubs against teams that they should be beating is what we haven't seen. We haven't seen that from the Fish. So they should be applauded. It shouldn't be asterisks saying, oh, well, it's only against the A's and the Royals. They should be applauded for sweeping them. Back-to-back sweeps is not easy. Doesn't matter who you're playing. So I applaud the Marlins. Let's talk about our good friends over at Birddogs, our final ad of the day. Guys, I've been speaking about these for the last few weeks. These guys are, fundamentally, they're there to make you look good. Let's start with that. And their stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and the leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. Yes, sir. Let's get these over to Mean Gene Segura and Johnny Cueto. Cueto due to go 3 innings coming up soon. Sorry to segue from the Birddogs ad. Birddogs shorts do the exact same things as the Lululemon, but fit way better. They fit better than regular shorts that are made of that stiff, restricting cotton. No good. Birddogs fixed this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. They use anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. Yes, sir. Sounds amazing. There's tons of positives, tons of benefits. If you haven't heard of Birddogs, then, you have now. But also, here's what you need to do. Get over to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB. Enter this promo code, LockedOnMLB. It's all in caps and all one word, LockedOnMLB, for a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB for a free Yeti-style tumbler. You won't want to take your Birddogs off. We promise you that. Okay, so what is on deck for the Marlins here? Actually, no, I just want to talk about briefly before I talk about the future. Let's talk about Luis Arraez again also, guys. Another multi-hit day. This is just getting insane for Luis Arraez. And it's getting to a point where I could see him hitting 500. I know it seems wild, but it almost feels like 400 is like the watermark now. What happens if he gets hot? Even hotter? Is 500 in play? Probably not. But the way Luis Arraez is going, and these multi-hit days, I mean, he did have a strikeout today, which blew my mind. I saw a few guys on the betting lines talking about how betting under 0.5 strikeouts for Arraez was a big play. I saw a few of them piling on that today. So those boys felt the pain, but Luis Arraez just doesn't strike out. Tons of hits. Multi-hit days. It's just incredible. Can Arraez go? Can he go anywhere near 500? That would be just absolutely insane. I think anything over 400 is insane. And I've already said it. If Arraez hits 400 and the Marlins win this division, which will be tough because the Braves are they are just a truck. They are a unit. They have just got so much power up and down that lineup. They are just built different. But if the Marlins find a way to overcome the Braves, it would be the biggest story in baseball because the 69-win Marlins to flip the script and win this division with Luis Arraez propelling them, hitting 400. I don't care how many bases Ronald Acuna steals. It doesn't matter. It won't matter because Luis Arraez will be the MVP. Guys, going to wrap up there. 20-minute post-game live, almost extravaganza. No guest, solo pod. I hope you've enjoyed it. As you can tell, it's getting late now. It's 11:15. I've been in the sun all day. I've been sipping a touch of wine. I still have half a glass here left, so I will go and enjoy the rest of that. Guys, I appreciate you joining me on this episode, and I appreciate you making Locked On Marlins. If it was your first listen of the day, I'll be back on Monday at the latest. However, if there is similar scenes tomorrow in the Sunday game with Braxton Garrett going, then there will be another post-game live extravaganza. And I'll see you then.